What is going on, guys? What is going on, 27 squad? Welcome back into another video, and today we are going to be talking about the wide receivers once again. But this is a big update for the New York Giants, and probably a good one as we have some negative news, but we're going to get into some speculation as well. But let's get right into it. So before I start, guys, make sure you guys hit that like button. We've got more content coming your way. I've got some time this week, so I'm going to get some videos going and get them recorded today. And throughout the week, you guys will be seeing more and more videos for the New York Giants. And I've got one planned up that is not Giants related, but it's going to be fun. Anyway, if you guys are interested, make sure you guys pick up some Kid Blue merch. Pick yourself up a mug or a shirt or a sweatshirt, whatever it is. Helps the channel out a lot. And make sure you guys like the video. Liking the video really helps the algorithm on YouTube. So let's get right into it. So we have some things to talk about, and at first we're going to stay within the New York Giants facility right now, and that's the big update that Sterling Shepard has practiced today, and he's back at practice, so that's a really good sign. Now Thursday's coming up, we're on a short week. It's very possible that he might play, but I'm not going to say it's likely. Everybody's saying that Sterling Shepard has a chance. He is eligible to play this Thursday, but I don't think the Giants are probably going to do that. If he does, that's great. They might try to force it, just being that it is another division game, and we are very, very thin at that wide receiver position due to the loss of CJ Board. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, how are we going to get Sterling Shepard back on the roster? Who are we going to cut? Well, the Giants, I guess, with the intentions of bringing Sterling Shepard back, they still have a roster spot open from when they put Lorenzo Carter on IR. So that's a very good thing. We don't have to cut anybody from the squad right now. We have an open roster spot right now, and we could bring Sterling Shepard back, therefore having 5 wide receivers on the roster. Now, I don't think CJ Board is going to play with the neck injury, but that would give us 4 active wide receivers and 4 guys that will dress up just like we've been running with all year so far. So we don't want to roll in with 3, I'll tell you that much. So hopefully Sterling Shepard will make his return against the Eagles on Thursday night. Now, I do want to talk about something really major right now. John Ross, former first-round pick out of Washington by the Cincinnati Bengals, has demanded a trade. Well, requested a trade, not demanded, requested a trade. And so this is a very interesting topic, especially for the New York Giants. You guys know that the wide receiver position has been probably one of the most neglected out of any position in this. We didn't draft a wide receiver. We didn't really bring any big name receivers in. Golden Tate was last year, and that's pretty much, all we got at that wide receiver position as far as free agents go. It's been neglected for the past couple of years, and Darius Slayton was a good pick, but I don't even think Dave Gettleman knew Darius Slayton would be that good. So it's been, for the most part, neglected. This is a very interesting thing. I am actually not opposed to trading for John Ross. Let's just get something in the air. We'll go over John Ross's history in just a moment. But John Ross is a speedster wide receiver. As you guys know, he broke the scouting combine record for the fastest time at 4.22, a 4.22 40-yard dash, and that's extremely fast. A lot of people were saying that he's not a route runner. I was one to say that he is a better route runner than people said, and he was. Right now, he's finding himself on the roster bubble on Cincinnati, as they're having him as healthy scratches for the past 3 weeks. We check out this article from ProFootballRumors.com. It says here that John Ross wants a fresh start with a new team, having a better opportunity. It says here Ross was a healthy scratch for much of the season leading up to Sunday's game. The Bengals didn't make any promises after talking to his agent, but they've got a couple of weeks to explore options before the November 3rd deadline. This guy was a former 9th overall pick and had a lot of hype behind him. This guy can play. The only problem is his injury history. Now, I think he fits the Giants very well. It would be nice to have 2 burners on the field. I was opposed to it, but a lot of you guys really convinced me that, hey, having 2 burners, you can never have too many burners. So, I don't mind it at all. I would love to bring John Ross in. Of course, I would want a guy that's bigger, but we really can't find guys like that right now. So we're just going to have to deal with what we got and deal with the cards that we are dealt. And John Ross would be a good option. before we get into his injury history, I do want to give some logic here. According to the NFL, John Ross is technically a bust. And so draft value for first round busts are much lower than a semi-productive second round to third round pick. And that's something I've just seen throughout the NFL. If you trade a guy that used to be a second round, third round pick and they were semi-productive, you're not going to get them for like a first round pick or even a second, or you might get them for another second or third or whatever the case may be. But a bust first round pick being traded, I don't think you're going to give up a first round pick, especially for a wide receiver. It's not a quarterback, it's a wide receiver. I don't think we'll have to give up much for John Ross. I'm talking fourth. I think fourth would be the highest, and that would be generous at that point. I think fifth round pick for John Ross may be an actual thing. I think we can only give him up for give up a fifth round pick for John Ross, and I know it's his contract year, but I would not be opposed to re-signing him, and he's not going to demand much. He can't demand much. Look at his stats throughout his career, and we'll get into that in just a second. But look at his stats throughout his career. It's not great. It's not been productive. He hasn't been a star on the team. He's had 10 touchdowns in his career so far, which is not bad for his rookie year, especially a guy that doesn't get a lot of reps. But he's not going to be demanding much if we were to trade for him and then go into his resigning next year. So let's go on to his injury history, and this is going to be very, very kind of a deal breaker if we want to bring in John Ross, and I think we should. I'm not going to sit here and just like throw everything at him and constantly call Cincinnati for John Ross, but if the opportunity presents itself, I would definitely not be opposed to doing so. I'm here on sportsinjurypredictor.com. I do this. I go to this website a lot for like a lot of players that have bad injury history. I did it for Sterling Shepard as well, if you guys remember. But John Ross is classified as a high-risk player, and in the preseason, this is a preseason stat, his chance of injury in 2020 is 96%. That's pretty much definite at that point. He hasn't gotten hurt yet, but that's thankful. But it says here, chance of injury per game, 18.2, and projected missed games for 2020, 3.9, so that's about 4 games. We look at his recent history, and it's all been around the same areas. You guys can see here he's had a knee tear in his right knee. He's had a really big problem with his knee, but he hasn't had an issue since 2015, which is good. He had a meniscus tear, and then it was classified as a grade 3 ACL tear, and then another knee meniscus tear in 2014. We look at he's had past groin injuries, and that's what's plagued him in his NFL career. October 28th was his most recent injury. October 21st, 2018, a groin strain grade 2. He's had 2 of those injuries in the span of a month, but he hasn't had an issue for the past 2 years. And then there's an injury here, September 2019, where he had a shoulder AC joint sprain, and that's pretty much what's kept John Ross out for his career. So he hasn't really had any serious injuries that's going to keep him out a year, recently, right? He hasn't had any serious, like what I first looked at was the ACL tears. How recent were the ACL tears? And that was back in 2015. So I think he's going to be okay. He does have some injury history. He is a smaller player, right? He's only 194 pounds, standing at 5'11". He's not the biggest, not the strongest, but I honestly think he will provide a very, very good, be a very good asset to the New York Giants and moving forward, and giving Daniel Jones another target and a guy with the ability to create separation and get open. That is something we have desperately needed on this team for a very, very long time, and especially throughout the season. God knows we needed that. So we look at his stats for the past, his past career and his NFL career so far. He's pretty much started the majority of his games. He hasn't started any but one game this year, where he was 2 or 3 games as healthy scratches. So that's not good. So far in the year, he has 2 receptions for 17 yards, which is, I don't know what they're doing. They have some receivers over there. T. Higgins, they just drafted. They still have Tyler Boyd over there. I believe they have Erickson as well. I'm not really sure why they're not using John Ross. I don't know if there's any disciplinary actions going on. Maybe he's just not part of the game plan. They don't see a fit for him. I don't know. But it's very interesting to see what's going on with John Ross over there. But the majority of his career hasn't been that terrible. He missed his 2017 season, I'm pretty sure, because he only started one game, had no yards, no receptions, had 2 targets. And then, in 2018, had 210 yards and 7 touchdowns on 210 yards. So the guy was just used to get into the end zone. And his by far most productive year was in 2019, where he had 28 receptions for 506 yards and 3 touchdowns. I'm not trying to get the guy to be a really good player, but it will be nice to have somebody behind Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton, because Golden Tate could be out the door at any moment now. His contract pretty much is very team friendly and he could be cut by the end of this year or even next year when his contract is up. So we need some stability or consistency, or some talent rather, because he's not very consistent, but some talent behind Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton, being that Sterling Shepard was signed to a big deal and Darius Slayton is still on his rookie contract. So and he'll be entering his 3rd year next year. So I think it'll be a good thing, and it will really boost up this wide receiver, wide receiving core. And like I said, give some talent there, so it allows the Giants to buy some time and draft some talent, or bring in some talent at the wide receiver position. Just get some talent in here, and so that we can fill the roster up and not have to depend on 5th round picks like Darius Slayton to carry us all the way. So that being said, guys, just throwing that out there. I'll be coming out with another video on Matt Parrott pretty soon, so I'll see you guys in the next video.